Hey everyone, I got an exciting show for you today. I have a couple that I have been looking to interview for several months now, and given life events, everything going on, we finally got it scheduled today. So let's welcome Chris and Kim to the show. How you two doing?
Great.
Good.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, I love interviewing couples. People that have been watching this channel, they may have seen Chris before, but it is often the family unit that makes real estate investing go. And I was really encouraged, Kim, that you said yes. I want to talk about it. And so this interview is going to be asking you a bunch of questions, and we'll let Chris just sit there and look pretty.
He loves doing that. So
Yes. Good looking guy. If you want to go pick up your little one and bring him on as well, go for it. I see Chris looking over his shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm here for moral support and baby support.
This
Yes,
is
baby duty.
Abigail, our
Hi,
young.
Abigail.
Yes.
Woohoo!
She's 10 months old, and she is the youngest of 4.
Wow.
That's right. I said 4. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We have another, Eloise. She's 2 years old, and then we have 2 3-year-olds, twin boys.
So you have
we have
4 under 4.
Yeah. Yeah. This is our normal. This is our reality every day is filled with them. So yeah.
Very, very cool. Well, I'd love
all the time.
Yes. I remember that time pulling the hair and all that, the necklaces. I remember.
Yep.
Yeah. Very cool. So, Kim, one of the things that I know I wanted to talk to is we've heard Chris's version of how all this got started. We've had him share his story a couple of different times. We've had him share his story of wild success, after humble beginnings. But I'm curious, from your side of the equation, what did you see at the beginning, right? Before Chris was Chris and he was just crushing it. What was it like in the beginning? He was out running for his Red Bull or whatever that energy drink was. Did you see or feel any of that stress from your position?
I'm sorry. I can't help but just laugh at it because I did see something very different and not in a bad way. I met Chris in church, and I saw him. He caught my eye. We didn't really talk for a long time, and I did notice that he was very humble. He loved serving, and that was honestly the first thing that I noticed in him. And he had good character. He seemed to be very dedicated to his work. And so when we did start dating and I got to know what he wanted to do with his life in real estate, I was 100% on board, even though he wasn't really doing that much. I don't know if I was just really in love with you. I was just like, yes, anything that you say, it's going to be amazing. I'm 100% on board. And so I kind of just had this, I don't know. I could hear the passion in his voice. And I really felt like, man, God did something. He put a calling in his heart, and I believe this guy. And so what I didn't know is how difficult it would actually be to do that in real life. Yeah. I was just like, oh my gosh, let's do it. And so, but yeah, he was very humble. He didn't have very much, almost nothing. And I was just out of high school, and even in college, I was going to college. We didn't have much of anything, but he was working very hard. And that was something I still value a lot. I love hard work, and I love good character. Those are 2 things that I've always seen in him. And so I love that there is no, sorry.
Okay, no problem.
There's no shortcut when it comes to hard work or success. You just have to work hard.
Yeah.
And so that's something that he did, and he consistently did.
Yeah, he's a very focused and humble young man. Chris, remind me of the timing. So when did you catch your eye at church? You start just dating, right? The first couple of dates. Where were you in your story, right? Were you working? Were you chasing that energy drink? Where were you so we can connect the stories?
No, not yet. So that would have been April of 2011. So at that time, I was still, I think about a little less than a year and a half into my first business endeavor, which was with my first business partner, wholesaling.
Okay.
And so, at that time, I was I was doing well, doing comfortable. So that was about maybe 9 months before like my whole world crashed when
Okay.
when I went out on my own and then just failed and basically lost everything. So we were about 8-9 months into dating when that all started to unfold.
Oh, so this is good. So, okay. So you're humble, but you're having some success, right? You have proof of concept. You have some wins under your belt.
Yeah.
You meet this, person, very attractive, nice person. You're at church. You have a connection, clearly both ways. So that's the beginning of this, right? Do I have that together?
Yep.
Okay. So did you know, Kim, did you, where were you in this, right? Did you realize he was doing deals? Did you talk about it? Like, was it conversation at dates, or what was that like?
Not so much. I knew that that's what he wanted to do, and I believed in him. And I think when we really started talking about it was when things started getting hard.
Okay.
For him, that's when it kind of came up as, is this something you really want to do? It's not really going anywhere, or it's going somewhere, but it's going someplace bad.
Yeah.
What's happening here? What's going on? So
yeah. So that's it. That's awesome. So, okay, you're 9 months into a relationship, going great as relationships go. He's now struggling. He's gone independent, gone on his own. He's likely struggling during the day, in his own head, just as it happens. Now you're 9 months in. Did you see a change? What was he like? Did you sense stress at this point? Did conversations change? Because you're an outlet for him, I'm guessing, but I don't know.
I not as much as I am now. I didn't realize that until we got married. I was like, oh my gosh, there's a whole nother level of conversation that happens. But I thought to myself, I was just unsure about this life that he was wanting to choose, this career he was wanting to choose, and I felt bad for telling him and asking him, but I did. It was like, this is really what you want to do? I think we need to look at some other options. So just some background for me, so my family, my mom, I come from a single mom home, and my mom was a very big proponent of working hard, which is where I get that huge value. And so she worked a 9-to-5 job always. Always. She did work with entrepreneurs, and she worked closely with entrepreneurs, but she was never really one to take the big risks. She was the one to take the stable route.
Right.
So when I came to Chris, by the way, my parents, my biological father and mom together, they were entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And they split, and she became a single mom. So, and Chris's parents are also entrepreneurs, and my mom and stepdad are also entrepreneurs. So I come from a family of these kind of leaders, and but at the time my mom wasn't taking risks. She had young kids, and so to me stability became very important. And when I saw Chris becoming unstable financially, I had to ask him hard questions like, what are you going to do about this? Or have you considered maybe becoming a project manager for some homes at this place or this place? And he eventually did get a job, a 9-to-5 job for a couple of years. And he did better at that time. But I think it didn't fulfill, it wasn't fully fulfilling him. And I could see that he wasn't going after what he loved to do. And I knew he needed to get back in there too.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was hoping we would talk about, because frankly, lots of people are going to be in the situation that you and Chris were. What would you say that was 5 years ago, roughly? 4 years, 5 years, 6 years? Like 6 years
Maybe
ago,
6.
like when you went back to get your project management job, when was that? 6 years ago?
Oh, that was in late 2012. So 8 years.
Oh, 8 years ago.
Oh, wow. That was long.
Time flies. So
it really does.
Yeah. So 8 years ago, I believe, whether you two know it or not, there's a lot of people that are couples that are going to have that conversation in the next 6 months, right? Real estate investing has been going well for 5 years. The world has changed. There are lots of wholesalers and flippers that will be out of business in 6 months. So a lot of people are going to have that conversation. So I think we should talk about it, right? And again, you were voicing your concern, watching your mom. She wanted the stable thing. You had conversations. Chris, I'll say it. You can agree or disagree. Swallowed his pride, got a day job, even though it didn't fulfill him because he had to put food on the table, right? That's what you have to do. So that's a tough decision for both of you. But again, it's made together, right? Chris sacrificed, realizing what was going on. But as things got better, right? As time goes by and this health events get away and, you know, things settle down, there's at some point where you come together again, have a conversation, and you go like, honey, thank you. I know this isn't for you. Go kill it, right? Go try again. How did that come about? So that would have been, I guess, 2008 or 9 when you said, go get it again, something like that?
2013.
Oh, 13. I'm bad with dates. So 2013, were you engaged yet or married? 13?
We were engaged,
Okay.
and we got married in 2014.
Yeah, May 2014.
Oh, she asks.
And so
interesting.
I am so terrible with dates. I am constantly asking Chris, like, how old are you? Or is he? I always just consider him like 30, even though he's not. It's been 3 years since that happened. So I just say he's 30. I like he started going back to work, like, for himself. And you said 2013, right? Summer of
2013 is when I
But what was that
basically
setup?
decided to turn.
Yeah, what was that conversation like? Because I'm sure you two had a conversation, probably several conversations. Honey, this isn't working for me. I'm not fulfilled. You know, I got it. You're probably seeing him not fulfilled. Tell me about those conversations, because that's important for people to see.
This is a hard thing to describe, because it really came down to a moment of us really coming together, and really we had to pray separately.
Okay.
And really come together and realize, like, okay, if God has called you to this, then he's going to call us through it.
Yep.
And so we really had to put our trust in calling that we felt so strongly, both of us felt, and we knew was on his life. And so for me, even though it meant that he was, that I wasn't going to be comfortable always,
Yep.
I knew that I could trust Chris to be a hard worker.
Yes.
I knew that I could trust his character. He had never lied to me. He still has never lied to me. He is very honest, and he has, he has a lot of integrity in what he does. And that's what I value. And so it really came down to us looking at each other and just saying, I trust you. And when we say yes to this, it's going to be like yes forever. Yes. And since then, he has not gone back to any part-time job. And it has been through thick and thin. Even I would say we've experienced worse hardship than it was before. And we have both stuck it out and pushed through it and said, no, this is what you are supposed to do for the rest of your life. We believe in it so much that we'll endure the hardship. We'll just push through until we reach success and nothing less. So I feel like that was something that we just like I just feel like that was something that was a decision that we had to make in our hearts and stick to. And we have so far, and not without wavering. Okay. There's been plenty of times I've thrown around, hey, what about, like, you know, this job, or what about that job, or what about, you know, have you ever considered having a new dream?
Yeah.
And you know, and not that nicely either, but it's
not
always
that
come back down.
That's awesome.
No.
So again,
nothing ever comes out that.
Yeah, this is the PG, or this is the G version. Yeah, exactly. So I think people need to hear that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like you each individually prayed on it, had your own moments to kind of review it. Then you got together and kind of made sure you were on the same page, probably. And then you just said, let's go. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, and I remember the kind of the moment or that time frame, and I think I had shared part of that on my first interview with you, Super, was We had just gotten engaged.
Yep.
I think it was in June of 2013. And basically the wedding planning started, the prepping of like, okay, where are we going to live when we get married? And then I was dealing with a car that was in the shop like every month. I couldn't even get it to pass month where I could get rid of it, because it was like every time I go to the shop, it'd be anywhere between like $700 to $1,500. This was an Audi A6, and it was just like nothing on it was cheap. Not even used parts, not even aftermarket parts or anything. Everything was really expensive. And I remember we just coming to this place of Kim looking at me and being like, look, I need this money, right? Like I need you to bring in money because we have to get married. And, it was nice that I had a full-time job, but I mean, realistically, I was making $11 an hour. Like it literally paid all my bills and left me with like $50 a month left over after my bills were paid. Right. And so like, it wasn't enough to be a provider for what, what we needed, and not even just what we wanted, but even what we needed in life to be able to take her out of her parents' house and to bring her into my own and make a home of our own. Wow. It wasn't enough. And we had to have that conversation, basically like, okay, your job isn't cutting it. And you've been kind of giving real estate a try, but it's not doing anything but taking time and money. So either you need to do it or you got to say bye and figure out something else. And so we had to have that conversation, and then I had to have that conversation with myself and with God, and then basically give it, I know in that first interview, I give it that 30 days of like, this is 30 days. Either I got to bring in 10 grand or not. And if I don't, then I've got to hang my head up and find something else. And within that 30 days, I gave it my all and brought in, I think it was just over 15 grand or something like that. And which definitely helped, put towards the wedding and whatever. And
Kim,
my car, everything else.
Kim, I'm curious, did you know about the 30 days and the 10K target? Like, were you a part of that conversation, or did you know about it after?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I was. I was a part of that conversation, and I saw the sticky note that he created, because he put a sticky note and he put $10,000 and he put it on his dashboard where he could see it and I could see it every time I was in his car. But I didn't say anything. At that point, I was like, obviously, like, he knows what he needs to do, and I'll pray for you, and hopefully you do it. That was kind of where I was sitting at. I was, getting kind of frustrated at what was happening. I think for me, something I realized and I've learned is that if God believes in him the way that he believes in him, then maybe I need to believe in him a little bit more. Oh. And so I feel like, I feel like I have the opportunity to just encourage him and let him know that I believe he can do this. And it's so weird how words can be so powerful. Like, telling him that does something. And it does something to me too. It reminds me that, again, that he's a hard worker. He has good character. This matters to him. This matters to me. And it does something, and it brings us back together. Even now when we have our more financial struggles, it just comes back down to that.
Yeah, I think what you guys are explaining, and I hope other couples hear this, is real estate investing is hard. It just is. Ups and downs, feast and famine. But if you talk and you communicate, you share honesty without, I don't know, negativity or just that other side of the coin, you can make decisions together. I see lots of couples that go through a bad patch, and one or the other, I'm not going to pick on either sexes, but one of them just throws rocks. I told you it was risky. You're so, go get a real job. I mean, it's like, are you together or not? And what I've always sensed with you two is you two are together, like puzzle pieces. You're just, snapped together, which is very nice.
I should just mention too, we also throw rocks. I don't know, and it's never on purpose, we just, things come out of my mouth. I say stuff and I know it hurts him. I know it really gets him down, and he said things too. But I think at the end of the day, it's just this realization that we really don't want to do this life alone. We don't want to, I love the life that we've created together. I love the life that's been given to us. I love the family and our children so much. And I realize that if we abandon this dream that he has, it would be like abandoning who God has called us to be.
Yes.
And so it's really difficult to separate his passion and who he is. And so I feel like it would be doing him a disservice if I were to do that to him. Mm-hmm. So my plan for my life is just to always encourage what is in his heart to do. And so, yeah, that's kind of where that goes.
Well, let's not forget it goes both ways. And that's why I think the puzzle piece was the best analogy I could come up with. You're not only supporting him and having, you have your feelings and your thoughts through ups and downs, but he supports you equally well. He is driven to do right by you and the kids. And every time I talk to him, he just speaks glowingly of the whole family. And a lot of that's everything that you bring to the table, Kim. So just realize that he truly does love and respect you. Even when you're not around, he's saying wonderful things. So let's fast forward a little.
Brownie points. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, you owe me, Chris. I got you some brownie points. So let's fast forward. Let's fast forward a little bit, right? Because it often starts as a struggle, but then times get good, right? Things got good. 6-figure years, right? Make $11 an hour. That's $22K a year, and now you're probably having 50K months. I'm just guessing, right? Talk about the good times. What were you seeing, Kim, in the good times? I mean, when did it hit you that, wow, that was a good decision?
For several years we've seen amazing growth. What's incredible is even when things are rough, we have rougher years or rougher months. At the end of the year, when I look at our finances and I look at the business finances, it's always grown bigger than the year before. Wow. And it always shocks me because I'm like, like January through December all felt bad, but they weren't. I look at the numbers and they were not. Everything was actually fantastic. In fact, it was better than last year. Wow. And so I think for me, I'm just seeing that, wow, I'm really, I guess, impressed by all that Chris's hard work has brought him. I didn't really think, I don't know if I really thought that it would look like this. Not that you couldn't do it. I didn't really know that was all in there. And so I feel like there's more to come. But I think that we've seen and we reap the blessings of that. I mean, we live in a great home and we're able to support all of our kids and we have the ability to do stuff, especially I think we work part-time for our church. And so just having that time, we have a lot of time to just invest in the things that we really, really love. A lot of time. And I'm a stay-at-home mom. Most of the time I do work part-time job, very part-time, like 10 hours a week with my mom. And I love it there, by the way. My mom is a business mentor to me, and she's incredible at what she does. So I work there so I can learn from her. So, I mean, we had a lot of time to do the things that we really wanted to do. And I think the business has given us that freedom. I mean, so much freedom. I can't even, maybe you work like 20 hours a week or something. Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy.
So I guess I take two things from that. So first off, Chris, congratulations on exceeding your wife's expectations. Congratulations. That's what I heard her say, whether she said it or not. That's what I heard. Make that your ringtone. But really what I want to go back to is when did you have that moment for the first time, Kim? Because again, you went in because of your belief, support, trust in him. I'm guessing there's a moment, it could have been a bank statement, a closing statement, something that you saw was like, oh, like it just took your breath away.
There was, I can remember, I'm really bad with dates and all that in memory and stuff, but there are some things I remember. And one of them was at the end of the year, I was reconciling all of our accounts and putting together, how much we brought in. And it was, can I say a number or no?
I don't care.
Okay. It was like, I think it was like 252,000 and for that year. And I was like,
wow,
that was ours. That was our money. That's like money.
I got to check the math. Did I do something wrong?
I was like, where did it all go? And you know,
Yeah.
but
Top
you know,
line, bottom line. Yeah.
yeah. So, but still, just
Yeah.
to even think that is incredible
Yeah.
that he did that. Like all those, like to the penny, he brought that in.
Yes, he did.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, this person, that's a good living. He should continue doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
We're
You're
not
like,
going to ask him to do anything else.
that's a good job, honey. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
Wow.
that was something I thought to myself. I don't think I ever really told him that. I just thought to myself, and I was like, okay,
See,
he's
look
going to
at that.
continue.
I just knew there had to be a moment, right? Because again, if you rewind the clock and remember where you were and when you said, okay, honey, I got you, you know, you proved it in 30 days, you made 15 grand, we can pay for the wedding. That still felt uneasy, but you were in. And then you fast forward, whatever it is, a year, 2, 3, whatever it was, you reconcile the numbers and see 252. You're like, huh, I guess that was a good deal. I'm glad that one paid off. Oh, very, very cool. So I guess the next question I want to go to is, again, every year got better. You guys are, you're not only better probably income-wise, but balance of life, right? Work-life balance, working 20 hours a week now, supporting church, 4 kids. Things are going well. Where do you want to take this? I mean, do you two have that conversation once a year? Do you have time to have that conversation with 4 kids under 4? I'm not sure. Like, where are you two taking this thing?
Do you want to speak to it? Or?
Yeah, well, I think it's been a while. You know, I think, you know, I'd probably love to share this on a longer interview, but,
okay.
You know, I went through this time of, I think it was 2018. I joined a mastermind, you know, got around, you know, all the 7-figure earners and all that, you know, everyone who was saying, you know, scale, higher, you know, increase marketing. And so I bought into the idea of like, okay, if I'm going to be in real estate, then this means, you know, I need a big staff. You know, I need, you know, 10 deals a month, 20 deals a month, 30 deals a month. And so we scaled almost to that point, and just getting hit by a couple of bad deals, kind of stepping back and realizing like, man, I really don't like this. You know, I don't like this huge over. Not that it won't be for us in the future, but realizing like I was basing my why off of what everyone else was saying. And I never stopped to take a deeper look to say like, okay, but really, what do we want? You know, what do we want out of life? What do we even want our life to look like? You know, can we start with that vision here at the home and then say, okay, this is what we want our home to look like. Now, how do we build a business that supports that vision? And I think we've kind of had some of those conversations, maybe more on the lighter end, but I don't know if we've ever really dug deep and been like, okay, like let's take 2 or 3 days to really hash this out, and then let's take it and run with it, which is something I really would love to do. Even as I'm talking, this, you know, this kind of vision or idea is kind of formulating in my mind.
Yeah.
But I think that's something that we really need to do, because I've kind of pulled back and I've said no to a lot of stuff. Just because I didn't want to get back into that big mode of trying to go back to 10, 20, 30 deals a month. And really, like, I think we've been at a place for the last year and a half where it's like, I am home most of the time, right? I get my kids up every morning. I get them ready. You know, we have breakfast together. We have dinner together every single night of the week. We have lunch together multiple times a week. And it's like, I really love what we've built here in the home. And even though I really, 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 really want to grow the business and I really do want to create generational wealth, at the same time, I don't want to take away from what we've built here. So, you know, I would love to sit down and really see about like, okay, how do we expand on what we've done here in the home? And then how do we grow the business at the same time without taking away? I mean, and you know, I hear a lot and I see a lot, even my own friends here who are in the business here in Fresno, you know, posting some, you know, pictures of them working on Saturdays or Sundays or late at night. And they're like, oh, you know, if you're not walking deals on Sundays, then you're not a real entrepreneur and all this stuff. And I think it's a trap, and I think it's a lie. And part of me, really everything inside of me says like, no, that it doesn't have to be that way. I don't have to leave my family to go out and be successful. I can do it right here today, right now. You know, I can go pick up my kids right now and I can still go put a deal together. Yeah. Right. I can know my wife and her not feel alone. and we could still grow our business and make lots of money. Now, how? I don't know the exact how, right? I'm still trying to figure it out, but I know it's possible.
Yeah.
And I know I don't have to wait, right? I don't have to work 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week for the next 10 years
Yeah.
and then say, oh yes, I sacrificed for 10 years. Now I can know my family. No, because 10, 15 years from now, if I sacrifice my family's not going to want anything to do with me. Right? They're not going to want to know me. Like, Dad, you sacrificed us for this money and success. Yeah. Now all of a sudden you're coming around. I don't want that. I want to stay away from that. So, it's a challenge to try to figure this out. Yeah, I think in a lot of ways we've got a lot of stuff down, and I think in a lot of other ways we still have a lot of room to grow, a lot of things to learn, a lot of ways to get better.
Well, so it is fun for me to hear that the couple that I believe has it most together still needs to have conversations. So that makes me feel good for all the other couples out there. So sounds like you two will have a conversation here shortly, which is awesome. The other thing that I want to highlight is it's a struggle that I've had, right? I think in one of our subsequent interviews with Chris, you talked about that mastermind and getting bigger and all the increased overhead. And it just didn't feel right. You weren't as excited, right? It did feel like you were living somebody else's, I'll call it dream. You called it why. And I struggle with that too, right? I don't know what it is. And maybe it's the type A person I was growing up, always wanting to compete on, I compete on everything. Monopoly, Tiddlywinks. Whatever it is, I compete.
Yeah.
I just have to get away from some artificial number being the stick. And I have to change it in my head to quality of life, right? Because I spend an hour a day doing whatever I do in my business, both buy and hold and flips. And I need to compare that against the guys that are working 90 hours a week, because I think we need to change the number, right? And for you and for it's the family, right? Family, let's have that discussion, right? Because I think, but it's hard. It's not often talked about. We need to talk about it more. Work-life balance, spending time with your family. That should be the measuring stick, not some W-2 number or tax return or something.
Yeah. And I think it's important that our kids see that he's working and what he's doing, that he's on the phone, that he has his laptop out, that I feel like that is part of good parenting. Yeah. And so for me, something that we have talked about is growing the business by making it smaller, I guess, in a sense. Yeah. So we ended up shaving off, I want to say like 35% of maybe 40%, but I want to say like 35-40% of our expenses. Wow. Just in subscriptions and advertising, all this stuff that we thought we needed, which was crazy because before we had the money to put into those subscriptions, Chris was bringing in, he was able to do it on his own. Yes. Which is why I've always gone back to the reasoning being like, hey, you have everything that you need to go get those deals out there. Yeah. Let's not just throw money into the newest subscription or the newest mastermind place when you are fully capable of bringing in X amount of money, and I know you can do it. Let's only keep what we absolutely need. So we have slimmed down our company very slim. We are only our essential things that we need. And we still have an office, but to be completely honest, that might not be for very long because we're going to just do essentials because we want the business to grow. We want it to grow and be fruitful, and we're thinking that might be something that we consider removing. Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're right. It's important for your kids to see both of you working, right? You are, and most importantly, it's for your kid. Most important, in my opinion, for your kids to see you together, right? I was raised in a household where mom and dad were technically married, but I would go months without seeing my father. Right? He would quote unquote, whatever. I would never see him. And your kids growing up, they're still under 5, right? So maybe it's a little early, but the next 5 years, that's going to be the stuff they remember. Right? Yeah. At least in my opinion. Yeah. So very, very cool. So again, congratulations on slimming down your business early.
right? That was strategic. It probably feels really good to do that now where we are in this economy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it does now. We would not have been able to sustain anything for that long.
Yeah. So again, that's setting you up. So again, I'm guessing what the next couple of years is, hey, it's okay if the top line number stays the same, but if you've reduced expenses 35, the net's more, right? And the net that matters.
Yep.
Very, very cool. What recommendations would you have for couples working together? And we're going to ask this questions at different points of your journey together. Let's go back to that 30-day window. Chris is going to go all in. He has a target of 10 grand. You're not sure he can do it, and he's not sure he can do it, but he's going to try. What would you tell couples that are sitting with that decision point? How do you do it? Obviously, don't throw rocks, but tell us about what couples should do there.
Do you have an idea?
I think just speaking to if speaking to the other spouse,
yes,
whoever that other spouse is, the one who is waiting.
Yeah, because it could be either way.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one who is waiting. I think in those 30 days, try not to criticize,
yeah.
or it's almost like self-sabotage, but to your spouse or to your other. I would really encourage them to be an encouragement to the other person.
Yes.
Really believe in them, believe in the passion that's in their heart, believe in who they are and what they can accomplish. And if you can't get yourself to believe in that person, then I mean, I don't know, if you're not married, then that might not be your forever spouse.
Exactly.
But if you are, then that, yeah, and it's okay. If it is your spouse, I would just really encourage you to just trust this next 30 days. Give this person the full, just the full opportunity to really show what they can do, and believe in them, and praise them when something goes right. If something goes wrong, don't throw rocks, like you said, but just wait it out. Just wait. Maybe like take a few days to think about what you're going to say before you say it, because the words are so powerful. I have seen my own words build him up, and I've seen my own words tear down his whole world. And it is, it's not as fulfilling as I thought it would be. You know, I end up being completely broken at the end of it, thinking, why did I do this to this person that means so much to me? So it's a tempting thing to throw the rocks, and then you realize that, you know, it's truly hurting them, and it's hurting yourself as well. So I would just say to that person, just give them their 30 days, be the encouragement, and don't throw rocks. That's just a horrible way to end that, but that's okay. What it is.
It is what it is, exactly. So Chris, this one's for you, because you made a hard choice when you went back and got I'll call it a day job, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
You were in a tough spot. And you know, some people are going to be in that tough spot here in the next 6 months, right? The economy is different today. And some folks are going to have to buckle down and go get a day job while they pay the bills, piece back together, and get ready for that next journey. So you just let them know that, yes, it feels bad today, but it will get better, because, you know, I'm sure it was hard. I'm sure it didn't feel great, but you're probably pretty glad you did it.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I'm extremely glad I did it. Now, I think in retrospect, looking back, there's a lot of things I would have changed, and maybe not been so hasty to go out on my own, just realizing that, you know, the strengths that I have having a job and running a business at the same time. But I think, when the bad times hit, I mean, you have to go to the fundamentals. You have to understand what works and what doesn't, and stick to and expand on what works. You know, if times are getting tough and money's running out, you know, it might not be a time to experiment with a new type of marketing, or it might not be a time to increase certain expenses or subscriptions or anything like that. You know, it might not be the time to buy a fancy, expensive CRM or dialer system or something like that. You know, if you can put it on Excel and save money, then do that. If you can pick up your own phone and hand dial just to save, you know, $150, $200 a month, do that. And just focus on really what makes money, which is talking to people and getting contracts signed. You know, a fancy website doesn't make you money. A fancy CRM doesn't make you money. Not in the long run, those things help build a sustainable business. But if you're at the point where today you've got zero in the bank or negative in the bank, and next week you need a deal or you're not going to be able to pay rent, right? Your fancy website's not going to do that. Your hard work is what's going to do that. And I think even having a plan, especially a written plan, you know, I think understanding your personality, understanding how your own mind works is a huge key to being able to move forward and grow. And, you know, I know for myself, like, I'm not a natural, like, to-do lister or a planner as far as writing out a plan, but I realized my mind moves so fast, and there's always so many different thoughts, so many different ideas in my mind. If I don't write down a to-do list, my day's going to go into the dump, because I'm going to start working on, well, I wonder what this is like. Well, let me look at this idea. Oh, maybe I can start this other side business and start doing this, right? Rather than going back to my written to-do list and saying, no, these are the fundamentals I have to work on today. Yeah. And then when I'm done with that, if I have time, now I can maybe go look into something else that might bring in something in the future. But I myself, I have to have a written plan. I have to have a written to-do list for the day, so that I stick to that, or I'm going to get sidetracked with my mind going on 1,000 rabbit trails.
Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about, again, get both of your thoughts on this is, again, we're in a bad spot. This will pass. We will have tremendous buying opportunities and investment opportunities in the years to come. So let's fast forward to the good times again. And where I want to go here, maybe we'll go Chris first and Kim second this time, is Chris, let's talk about it again. Remember what the goal is, right? Quality of life.
Yeah.
Time with family, not some BS top line revenue number, right? That pivot to chasing other people's goals. Talk about the importance of your why. Let's just hit that again, because I think people need to hear that from you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think, I mean, I could only speak from my own perspective, which is like, I want to make an impact. You know, I want to.
Oh.
Sorry.
No, it's
baby
fine.
Was stuck in the chair.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. You know, I want to make an impact, starting with my kids, starting with my wife, and going out from there. You know, awesome. I think about the biblical proverb that says, I think it says, a wise man or a godly man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And for me, that inheritance doesn't start with money. It starts with character. It starts with integrity. It starts with even the thought of, like, hey, my grandkids or my great-grandkids or my great-great-grandkids may one day stop and say, man, we're living this life because of what, you know, grandpa or great-great-grandpa Chris did. You know, we're living this life of faith, or we're living this life of having this amazing business that makes a huge impact because of these steps and these actions that great-grandpa Chris took. So, I mean, those are things that I think of. You know, I'm not just thinking about, oh, I just want to have a 7-figure business, or I just want to have, you know, a Lamborghini or a big house or something. You know, those things are awesome, and I think they can be great goals, but they're not a good why, right? When the crap hits the fan and sellers want to cancel, or buyers want to cancel, or the market drops, right? Having a Lamborghini on my bedroom wall is not going to keep me motivated. Looking at my kids' faces and realize what I could deposit in them is what's going to keep me motivated to get up, to make calls, to push through, to look at my bank account when it's in the negative or in the positive and say, okay, I need to go to work today. I need to make an impact because I have these kids I need to take care of, not just take care of financially, but even relationally. I want to make sure that I can be here every day for dinner. I want to make sure that I can be here every day to you know, wake them up and get them ready for the day. And I want them to know that their dad loves them, and that he's working hard to take care of them and their future, and whatever they need, you know, I want to be able to be there to take care of them.
So a couple of things. First off, I see Kim looking at you, and I think she actually loves you more now after that 30 seconds than she did before, if that was possible. I think I saw her heart melting right there. So good job.
Yeah.
The second thing is, I loved your subtle goals and why discussion, right? The Lamborghini is a goal, right? It's a status symbol. I believe you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Too many people have whatever that physical thing is. That's a goal.
Yeah.
It's not a why. And I think too many people have those confused. So I would challenge you, if you're in a relationship, go have the why discussion, because it is the family unit. It is the kids. It is generational wealth. It's not an orange Lamborghini or a private jet or whatever. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
So for you, Kim, and kind of the same discussion, you know, what did it mean to you to kind of have that discussion about, you know, let's get smaller to get bigger, if that makes sense, i.e. let's ratchet expenses back so we can be better off. I mean, that's very intuitive, right? That's people normally don't think that way. So that's very well done.
Thank you. I think I've never really wanted a lot. I've never been one to run after money or a big house or a lot of things. I've always really valued, like you were talking about, the quality of life.
Yeah.
And as I've gotten older, I just realized how much more important that is, marrying Chris and then having our own kids. I see the value standing right in front of me, you know, or every morning, every night, they're right there. They're my kids and my family.
Awesome.
And I'm just realizing that they are our legacies, and they carry with them something that is not, you can't put a value on it. You can't even put a number to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have just really focused in on them and how much they matter to me. And like Chris was talking about, they're gonna, I think our pastor says something. You're gonna have to remind me, because I'm so terrible at remembering anything. But it's like, it's not what you leave to them, it's what you leave in them.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
And I just want to make sure that what we leave in our what we leave in our kids is something that lasts. It lasts to their kids and to their kids' kids. And I feel like that would be a life well lived if we could just make sure that they are integrous people. They're people of character, and that we understand that we are part of a legacy here.
Wow.
And so our why is very strong.
Yeah.
And that's how I like it, because I don't want to get confused with what money means. I think money is a great tool, but it is absolutely not everything. And I don't mind having a small life. Even if we have a lot in the bank, I don't mind it at all. I just want what we need to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. The rest of it, I don't know. Maybe we'll just give it to our kids. Maybe we'll just give it away. I don't know, because it's really the values and principles that we have. That's the most important thing to me to actually pass down to them. And part of them is hard work. So I believe that our kids won't need any of the money that we have. I believe they're going to be able to work hard, and extremely hard, and be able to create their own wealth for themselves. Not to mean that I wouldn't help them at all, but I believe
You will.
that
You'll help them.
I know. I know. I won't be able to not. I mean, you should see me now. I'm always trying to get them something. So, but it's just, I just feel like I want them to have the tools to be able to do it themselves. And
yeah, I that might be my favorite quote of the year that you gave me, crediting your pastor. It's not what you leave to them, it's what you leave in them. I mean, that shook me when you said that, right? I've never heard it. It's possible people said it around me and it just didn't impact me. It's possible. So if you said it to me in the past, I'm sorry, mom, dad, whatever. But that's, that is, I think everybody should take that statement and talk to their spouse, because I think we are too focused on what we could leave them, right? Something physical, money, stuff. And I can't remember the last time I've heard somebody talk about what we're going to leave in them, meaning them as a person. I'm going to leave this interview on that topic. I would challenge everybody to have that conversation the evening that you hear this interview. Not what you're going to leave to them, but what you're going to leave in them. That's pretty good. Thank you.